Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Films and Stuff podcast. I am Ethan, joined, as always, by the MVP, most valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
Good. It is Saturday morning, which means one thing. It is the weekly stream or skip episode. As always, I kick it off with the introduction. I hand it over to you. You take one deep breath, and in 15 seconds or less, you reiterate the rules just for those who may have forgotten or those tuning in for the very first time. Without further ado, my friend.
Okay, so Ethan and I have prepared lists of TV shows for each other to watch. Every week, we randomly assign each other one show to watch. We watch at least 2 episodes or 30 minutes if it's a feature-length program. And on that basis, we determine if that show is worthy of being streamed or skipped.
Without further ado, we are both on Amazon Prime this week. Is that right?
That's right.
Let me let you go first. I will give you your honor.
Your honor. All right. Thank you. So I was initially assigned a show called Norton Hall. Now, spoiler alert, I couldn't find Norton Hall. Every time I searched for Norton Hall, I kept getting the Graham Norton Show, which is like a talk show on British television.
That's not it.
I couldn't find it, and it wasn't on my Amazon list. So I pulled an Audible and watched the next show that was on Amazon Prime that was also on my streamers kit list called My Lady Jane. Now, think of For All Mankind.
Okay.
In the sense that it's an alternate history show.
Oh.
And in this alternate history show, Lady Jane Grey, who was Queen of England for 9 days in real life.
Did not know that.
She was executed for treason. Now, in this show, they say, what if she weren't executed? What if she took over? And so forth. This show is a comedy take on alternate history. And a couple of things. One, I'm already not a huge fan of romantic comedies or comedies of a historical take.
Is this considered a black comedy? Like a dark comedy?
Kind of, but not really. I think more traditional comedy. Okay. Not like slapstick or Friends style sitcom, but just a comedic take.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is I'm not a huge fan of this English history, historical era in terms of TV series.
Yeah.
It's just not my bag.
Yeah.
About Lady Jane Grey, who again is the cousin of King Henry VIII.
Okay.
I think King Henry VIII. Whatever, one of the kings. Maybe Edward. I don't know. They all kind of blend into each other at some point.
I agree.
So
I think your British passport's going to be revoked with a statement like that.
Too late. I've already got citizenship. You can't take it away. So the idea is that she wants to be like this doctor or like this celebrated author, and she wants to write the first book by a woman, which is about like a medical compendium of like herbs and ways to treat illnesses. And then her mother wants her to get married because that's how they can consolidate power. They don't have any money, or they don't have much money. And by getting married, they can kind of consolidate not just wealth, but also solidify her claim to the throne.
Power. Yep.
Yeah. And then here's another twist. We find out that in this historical fiction, romantic comedy / comedy, there are things called Ethians or Ethians, which are these mythological beings that can shapeshift.
This is in the show?
This is in the show. This is where it goes. You can see how I'm going with this. This is going off the rails already.
It's like too many things all in one, right?
Yeah. So it's like these creatures who can turn into like different animals. And so like she finds out at the end of the first episode that her maid is an Ethian, and she shapeshifts into some owl to escape. And Ethians are persecuted because they're like related to demons. And so
Yeah,
like
they're
the
like
Church of England
witches.
is like, we have to eliminate all of them. And then she gets married, or she's going to get engaged to this family, and she doesn't want to get engaged to this guy. And it turns out that he's an Ethian too.
Oh,
And the reason they want him to get married is so that they can protect him. Look, there's just too much. It's awful. It's not my bag. It's not funny. It's not interesting. As you rightfully said, it mixes too many things. It's not a historical fiction. It's not alternate history. It's
yeah,
not proper comedy. It's not proper science fiction. It's not proper anything. And it was
yeah.
just a mixed bag of everything. So I'm out. I'm out. It was a skip. I mean, 20 minutes into the first episode, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I really want to skip it. And if I could have watched this at like 2x or 4x or even 12x or 18x speed, I would have.
What have you looked on like Rotten Tomatoes or anything to see like what the reviews are? Is there
I
anyone's giving this?
could not be bothered. Like,
Oh my
it's just
gosh.
not my thing. I don't know. But like, it's not for me. It's some kind of weird meddling, like conceptually, the idea of an alternate history or something changing in history, kind of like For All Mankind, is
Yeah,
interesting if the thing that they're changing is an interesting take, right?
yeah,
Like Man in the High Castle, what if the Nazis won and took over
yeah.
America? Interesting.
It has to be a big thing, you know? This
It has
seems
to be
like it was
something
too
pivotal. And
esoteric. Yeah.
and you know, Lady Jane, who was literally Queen of England for 9 days and was widely seen as a traitor, her not being seen as a traitor or her not being executed, that seems like such a, again, it's not the small thing. It
It's a
is a
blip.
major historical fact,
Yeah.
but it's not a pivotal point in history.
So this is a skip.
This is 100% a skip.
Ooh, I like the definitiveness. Well, Pete, we are sticking to Amazon Prime, and I had something that is not much better.
Oh,
It's named Patriot. It's a Prime original, and it's a little bit dated, and it stars Michael Dorman. Remember him?
oh, Gordo.
Gordo from For All Mankind.
This is your second Gordo show.
He's got a very interesting career. Patriot. Immediately after that, he had For All Mankind. And then immediately after that, he had Joe Pickett, which I think we
Yeah,
reviewed as well.
yeah,
So
that was yours.
he's kind of a leading man, working actor, 3 straight series. Unfortunately, I would say all these are kind of 2 seasons and they never really took off, right? Like he's been kind of carrying these, but none of them ever took off. Let me tell you about Patriot. I'm going to do a spoiler alert. I gave it a skip, but there is something potentially there for the right audience. So Michael Dorman plays a guy who is a little bit of an eccentric fellow. He likes to, kind of play his guitar. His father is a very proper bureaucrat with a high level position in the CIA, right? So he's a blue tie, white shirt, navy suit bureaucrat, very buttoned up, compared to his son, who's, happy to just kind of strum the guitar barefoot, right? Apparently, the CIA has lost an agent and they are worried about Iran getting a nuclear weapon. So they want to do some type of mission. And Gordo's father, you'll like this, Terry O'Quinn from Lost.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So his father says, look, you're not doing anything. You're kind of unemployed, unemployable. I've got a mission for you. it's really important. They want him to really be a civilian, and they get him a job at a pipe fitting company, believe it or not, based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And as part of his job for this pipe fitting company, he is supposed to travel to Amsterdam. And that dovetails with the mission because he's going to take all this money on behalf of the CIA and give it to another agent in Amsterdam. And that will be his duty for his country. Kind of a far-fetched thing, but you can see how it goes because apparently they think if anyone is tracking down the agent, this guy's got a great cover. He's a legitimate employee for a very boring company. I guess they're assuming that they're not going to put one and one together and look who his father is in the CIA, but nevertheless. So, of course, he takes on this mission. He goes on a legitimate interview, gets hired by the company. His first assignment is to go to this meeting in Amsterdam, and his luggage gets lost, which is all the money. And of course, then he's got to track it down. He's got to kill some people tracking it down, blah, blah, blah. This just kind of shows what is the main premise of the story, which is he's a secret agent, but he's also got to balance a legitimate real job where people in a legitimate real company don't have any idea why he is skipping out of meetings, coming to meetings kind of sweaty after he's just strangled a guy, what he's kind of doing in his spare time, which is essentially moonlighting for the CIA. It is, again, as I mentioned, a skip. And it's a skip for two reasons. One, he's a very kooky guy. And the best example is kind of like the guitar. But it's not just that. He's just not I don't want to say like he's a screw up. He's not like a guy who doesn't take things seriously. It's just not his thing. Like he's pretty chill. He's laid back. He's got kind of like a funky sense of humor. He's just like, again, an eccentric kind of guy. And if you like that kind of humor of his character, you might really, really like the show. For me, it was a little bit too offbeat to really get into. And then the second part of this is, and we've seen this with maybe Breaking Bad is a good example of this, or Better Call Saul.
Okay.
That, they try to fix something, and in fixing something, they break something else.
Yeah.
And then they spend the whole episode trying to fix the thing that they broke. And in order to do it, they had to break something else or kill someone else, right? And it's just like this domino effect of like repercussions, right?
Yeah.
That's very similar to this. Again, like he's supposed to do this mission. The money gets stolen. So he's got to kill a guy. And then that guy has something else. And then you can see it's leading to, there's going to be like some investigation of his company. It's just all dominoes. And I feel as though we're going to spend every episode watching how he fixes a problem that he kind of caused himself to do the original spy work, which itself is arguably kind of ugly in its own right, Okay. So anyway, I give this a skip. Again, it's got a little bit of an offbeat humor, not particularly my style. It's got the traditional kind of spy elements with the stranglings and the killings and the chases and the, hiding these things and the kind of the mind games and the manipulations. It just doesn't grab me. Even though it's a 2015 to 2018 series, it actually doesn't seem that old. It ages pretty well. Dorman plays his character fine. The character's not really compelling to me. And I guess I've just seen enough of these domino effect kind of like clandestine shows to like really keep me engaged. Like I'm not on the edge of my seat. I'm like, okay, luggage got stolen. He'll track it down. He killed the guy. He'll bury the body. He'll hide this and blah, 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 blah. So unfortunately, I must give Patriot a skip, which is not to say that it has no redeeming qualities. It describes itself as a comedy drama, a black comedy, a political drama, a spy drama. So, I mean, kind of when you,
okay,
right? I mean, all those things together, it's trying to be, sometimes I feel like shows are trying to be all things to all people, right? You don't need to be a political drama, a spy drama, and a comedy drama. Comedy drama are two different categories, right? And then you're also a black comedy. It seems like you're trying to combine offbeat humor and a serious spy show. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Skip. But if you may allow me, I have watched the next show in my pipeline. It is Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus. It is about, well, it's definitely based in Ireland or Northern United Kingdom. And it's about 5 sisters. They're all very close. And you see them initially kind of like on Christmas Eve, and only one of them is married. I mean, they're varying ages. I would guess from like 26 to 35. One cannot have children. One is always got a random boyfriend. 2 are like a little bit on the younger side where they're out of university, but not kind of like as established, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the one with the husband, we see that he's an asshole, for the lack of a better word, right? He's really a jerk. Not horrible that you would be like, this guy is the worst, we've got to kill him. But like, you definitely see he's a jerk. He's the dude who's very critical, you know? So he's like saying to one sister, look, this house is too big for you. Like, you know, even though it's a huge house and so many bedrooms, like I always feel like, you know, we're at this very small kitchen table. You know, he's just being kind of critical of her. Another one, you know, comes with her boyfriend and he's like putting down her boyfriend, like, oh, you know, I wonder what, you know, she dragged in this year. Last year was like this out of work something. This year, I bet it's going to be, you know, something else. You know, he's just kind of like, without even meaning the guy, he's just kind of critical of her. You know, he uses the toilet and he comes out and someone else is waiting for the toilet. And he's like, hey, I didn't flush. Like, why don't you do it for me? You know, he criticized the food. I think another one is married because, or she has an adopted son who's a little bit developmentally disabled. And the kid was very innocent, just came up behind him and like gave him a hug. And he like kind of like snapped at the kid saying, oh, you know, I've got a bad neck and, you know, manage your kid, like, you know, teach him some manners. Everything was just kind of like, he's just a jerk, you know? And then like at the end, you know, someone said, hey, like, you know, just relax, you know? And he's like, you know what, that's it. I don't need this. You know, we've got stuff to do. Let's go home. And he like grabs his wife and kid and like makes them leave early, you know? And they were all having like a great time. It was like 9 p.m. And the other 4 sisters like, oh man, that guy's the worst. You know, I wish, you know, our sister would be treated better. And, you know, we just want to hang out with her. And then the next day we see that they've got like this annual ritual where they do like a polar plunge or something. You know, they go to the shore and they swim. It's like very cold water and they bring like a flask of whiskey or something. And, you know, it's just kind of like their annual tradition, right?
Yeah.
So the husband hears his wife on the phone and she's like saying to one of the sisters, yeah, of course, you know, okay. Do you need extra blankets? Sure. You know, okay, I'll just meet you guys there in like 20 minutes or like an hour, whatever it is. And he hears this and he's a very jealous sort. So he actually says, oh, you know, we should have a holiday toast, and like opens a bottle of champagne, and the wife has, you know, some sips with him. And then when she's ready to go, he like slams the door and says, you can't leave. You know, you've been drinking. Like, you can't drive my daughter that condition. Like, I'm so worried about this. Like, it's so irresponsible. Basically, he's just kind of like manipulating her, and he doesn't let her go to the annual morning event, you know, with her other sisters. So the other sisters are stood up and they're like, look, we got to do something about this guy. Like, she's no good for our sister. Our sister's being brainwashed and so forth. So, as sisters may do, they decide to kill him. So the show is called Bad Sisters.
Oh my God.
Because the 4 sisters make a pact and they're going to kill the guy. So this is episodes 1 and 2. What I see happening now is there's going to be a lot of flashbacks. So we have the funeral. We know that he died. We know that he died from an accident. We don't know how, but we obviously know kind of that the four sisters did it, based
Right.
on the end of, the episode. So I see that there's going to be like a lot of flashbacks to see how this scheme happened. And apparently the guy had a large insurance policy, and the insurance agent slash adjuster is a little bit skeptical about this accident. But again, we don't know enough about the accident to know how or why or anything. So that seems like what's going to take place for the rest of the show. I gave it a 1. It's not really funny. I mean, there are some kind of moments of levity in it, and it's not really action packed, of course. It's definitely a family sisters drama, which isn't really my bag. On the positive side, I kind of like all the characters. There's no one, I mean, they make the husband who's murdered definitely seem like a jerk. Again, it's a little bit dramatic to kill someone, but definitely they don't make him at all appealing. They don't make any redeeming qualities from him. And each of the sisters has their own personality, and I have to say they're all kind of likable in their own way. I gave this a skip just because there's no real hook, again, to like keep me interested. It's a fine background show. Like, it's not a mooch, to be honest. I don't think that you would ask your brother for his password to watch this. I don't think it's a show that you'd be like, oh man, long week, I'm just going to unwind by watching, an episode of Bad Sisters. Actually, it's a quite good show, well produced, well acted, everything. I just don't think it's exciting enough to justify being anything more than a skip. And part of that is, like, I think the first 2 episodes are relatively engaging. I mean, we kind of know what's going to happen, right? We know the 4 sisters got together. We know that they killed him. We don't really know how, but do we care? I mean, it was some accident. It was, I don't know, they sabotaged his boat or his brake lines or gas leak in the house, right? Something probably pushed him downstairs or slipped. But apart from that, like, there's not really much of a mystery. Is she going to get the insurance policy? Probably. They'll probably get away with it, right? I mean, it's not a hardcore Apple TV Plus show like Blackbird or something like this. I mean, it's supposed to be kind of a little bit comedy. So, but generally, like you, I show a little bit of benevolence. It's a fine show. For some people, it may be fantastic. For people that have a lot of sisters, maybe even better. Could be triggering based on the husband as well. So take it with a grain of salt, but that is Bad Sisters on Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
So that's my extra credit today. I know you've got some extra credit as well, but before you get to that, I just wanted to ask, do you want to hold that for next week?
I think that's the right idea because I think you should watch the show.
Yeah.
I think you and I can do a full review. The Penguin on Max/HBO.
Yeah.
I really want you to watch it.
Okay. So we'll do Penguin next week, but do you want to talk about episode 2 of Silo?
Sure. Let's do a quick recap of that.
So episode 1, she went outside. She refused to clean. And because she had the special tape on her suit, she was able to make it over the hill and saw many, many other bunker silos. And apparently thousands, if not tens of thousands of, human remains surrounding one of them. That's the end of season 1. Season 2, she walked through all those remains, forced her way into this other neighboring silo, which initially she believed was totally abandoned, except she found that there was one person kind of living there and barricaded in his own room or chamber. That's how episode 1 ended, which I thought was a fantastic ending to episode 1. Then episode 2, which just dropped this week, we don't see Juliet at all. We don't go into the neighboring silo at all. We deal instead with internal politics of all the people that watched Juliet leave and watched her go over the hill and out of sight. And now there's a lot of unrest about like, hey, what is really out there? What aren't we being told? What's the truth? And then Tim Robbins basically spin some story saying, hey, we made some new developments. But to be honest, the story was totally nonsense to me. And that's kind of where it ended. It was a lot of scheming between him and the judge, all in order to kind of like put down the potential unrest and answer questions that everybody had. In my head, it didn't answer anything. It made things even more confusing.
Confusing about what?
Everyone is saying, okay, we thought this place was super toxic. So toxic that even if you go outside in a suit, you die, right?
Yeah.
And now they see someone who's survived. If I were watching this, there's a few questions. One, it doesn't mean that it's okay to go outside. The person had a protective suit on, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, hey, I'm really curious how far they made it until they died. Or I wonder what is out there that we can't see. But I wouldn't automatically assume, well, we must just be able to go outside now. The person had a suit on, right? So do other people want to explore with suits on?
Yeah, so I think that they want to explore with suits on, and they also are putting two and two together that the tape has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well,
because
the people yeah, you're right. Go on.
No, because the people in mechanical are starting to figure out that they had used the tape that was from IT that was, actually the proper tape.
Right.
And that's why. So the question isn't necessarily just that the air is not toxic or it is toxic. The question is, why aren't we allowed to go outside with this protective tape?
I mean, is there enough tape and enough suits for everybody to go outside?
Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I think the question is not the question, but I think the reality is that while the first episode was, let's say, exterior focused, right, on what happened outside the silo, now we're dealing with the repercussions of Juliet's actions inside the silo, which is people are saying, we don't know if she's alive or she's not alive.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw her walk over the hill.
Yeah.
Right. So that means, so some people are thinking, well, that she means she maybe just died a little further past the hill. Whereas some people are saying Juliet lives, right? That's the JL that we see like the graffiti on. Like there's this movement now of people who are like, well, if she can live with that protective suit, then so can we. And let's go find out what's going on because, no one likes to be cooped up. And of course, the mayor's job is to make sure that everyone is cooped up.
I mean, how would you have handled this if you're the mayor?
To be honest, I think Tim Robbins did exactly the right job. He talked about how technology has increased. So now there's the special new tape that they made, even though they've already had it.
Yeah.
But he admits to the creation of this new tape. That's what led her to live. It's still toxic out there, and she's probably dead. Right. And then remember, they planted those people, the hecklers in the crowd, to kind of ask the questions that he wanted to answer. So, he kind of gets exactly what he wants.
I mean, does he know what's out there?
They alluded to the fact that he knows that the other silo had a rebellion and those people died.
Would you have just said like, okay, fine, let's have a search party. Let's get 3 people. You 3 go out there and explore and see what's happened.
I'm willing to bet that they're in communication. Like all the silos are in communication with each other.
Somehow, right?
Yeah. I bet you that's one of the parts like that IT controls is a way to talk with each other.
Okay.
Because otherwise, how would he know about all those dead bodies?
Yeah. But he seemingly does know that, right?
Yeah.
So why doesn't he want to send like just 3 people out there to come back and be like, oh man, we saw it. It's horrible out there. Like we can't go outside. And just like, quash the rebellion this way, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got nothing to hide.
If I were a bad guy, I'd go out there and go make sure that Juliet were dead and bring her body back and be like, this is proof that you can't go outside.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why he doesn't say, okay, fine. You know what? We'll go get a search party, right? We've got the new tape now, or we realize that this tape works better than the other tape. Like, we'll go do this and let's all find out. I'll send 3 people. Okay.
Yeah.
And he sends 3 people and the 3 people come back and say like, first of all, like Juliet's dead, and be like, look, there's many other silos, or at least one other silo, and that other silo, it looks like everyone left, and there's 10,000 skeletons. There's nothing to see.
Yeah, I don't know why they can't talk about the fact that there are other silos, or why they're not talking about it. Because clearly he must know, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the thing where I agree, like, people are cooped up, but part of it is that, like, if you just knew the thing, like, hey, like, this is that the world is bad. There's 10 silos, we're one of 10. Like, we generally like keep in touch, but like they're all doing the same thing that we are, right? Like, it seems like it would really reduce the amount of tension in that silo, right?
Yeah.
Or say, hey, there used to be 2. We haven't heard from the other one in ages. We went outside now, and this is a situation. It seems like it's unnecessarily secretive.
Yeah.
I thought this episode was a little bit boring, to be honest. I wanted to kind of get back to Juliet, so I guess I'll bounce back now to Juliet. But when you look at the whole thing, what's the end game here? I mean, we do agree that no one can really go outside, right?
Yeah.
We don't really need an uprising. Things, I mean, there may be some general unhappiness with higher management, but that's in anything. But I mean, there's no real reason to like upset the existing hierarchy. No one's going outside. No one's leaving.
Right.
For the lack of a better option, maybe you'll know about what happened. That would be fun. But no one's really changing their day-to-day life, right?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, that's right.
Anyway, that's Silo. New episode dropping this coming Wednesday. Let's see if we're back to Juliet and see a little bit more about this dude.
We will be, I think.
All right. So that is Streamer Skip. We had My Lady Jane, Amazon Prime, Skip by Pete. Patriot, Amazon Prime, Skip by Ethan. Bonus, Bad Sisters, Apple TV Plus, Skip with some nice words from Ethan.
And next week we'll do a full-scale review on the Penguin rather than a Streamer Skip episode on it. Definitely something we'll come back to as a separate full-fledged episode.
All right. Pete, before we take off, you want to give everyone our YouTube, Jazz, and other social media credits?
Absolutely. Tweet at us at F&S Podcast. DM us on Instagram at Films and Stuff Podcast. But as always, the best thing you can do, like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell.
Oh, I love it. No one says it better than you. Pete, thank you for your time today. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. We will catch you next week on the Films and Stuff Podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.